Hey everyone, so this is the new Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. This now costs $1,100 here in the US in the base version like I have here, which gives you 128 gigabytes of storage, 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is insane. Now has the new G4 processor in it. It now has a flat front display. And then the back of it, to me, it looks a lot more premium than, say, the 7 Pro that I have here. I think this looks nicer. I do think the 7 Pro still looks good and catches all your fingerprints. But I do think they improved the way this looks. They made it look a lot more premium than the old ones do. Still have the big visor, but unlike here where it goes all the way across the back, it ends before it hits the sides. But I think this is a very, very nice looking phone. This one is in the hazel, which underneath my lighting here just looks silver. But this is the hazel color. Again, this thing costs $1,100 here in the US. Of course, you have PIN, you have face unlock, and you have the fingerprint unlock as well. All of them do seem to work very well for me. Quickly talk about battery life. I do not usually have issues with battery life on pretty much any phone I've used. I mean, I've used the iPhone SE for a while and the iPhone 13 mini. Never really had any issues with those. I am not a heavy user by any means. I never had any issues with, again, the 7 Pro here. And then this is improved over the 7 Pro for sure. As I smack them together on accident there. This is definitely improved over the older ones. And I think unless you're a very heavy user, you should not have any issues with this. At least in my case, I do not. So again, this has 128 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM with the new G4 processor. Go ahead and go to bestbuy.com here, show off a little bit of its speed. And you see this is of course nice and quick, as one would expect from a $1,100 phone, starting at $1,100. Now this is probably not going to be as fast as say the newest iPhones, especially when the 16s come out in like this month, later on this month here in September of 2024, or the S24 Ultras from Samsung. Google has never, at least not the past few years, have not been about pure power, pure speed. They're more about the AI stuff, which I'll get into a little bit later. But as far as speed goes, this thing is, of course, nice and quick. Again, you would expect that from a $1,100 phone. We won't have any issues with that stuff. We'll go into Monster Hunter now, which is, of course, a game. This is a game similar to like Pokemon Go, but with Monster Hunter. So you hunt monsters. Supposed to go out and about walking or whatever and find monsters to hunt and gather their materials and get better stuff, hunt bigger monsters. Now again, this is not going to be the quickest of phones, but as you can see, it's not slow either. I mean, unless you're comparing this side by side to something like an iPhone 15 or a Samsung S24 series, you're not really going to notice the difference, I don't think. It is nice and fast, and when I'm in this game, it is nice and smooth. Now we go into something like Roblox here. Roblox is not optimized for Android in general, and it seems even worse on Google phones for some reason. One thing I've always noticed with Google phones, and it's still the case here, even with the advanced, the better display rate turned up, which is 120 hertz, it's still a little bit choppy. I don't know if you guys can tell that in the video, but it has been that way with any of the Google Pixel phones I've tested in the last couple of years. It's just a little bit choppy. Always has been. And then if we go into a game, so I went into Arsenal, it shows you FPS counter. We are in highest graphics you can be in. See, it is actually sitting around 60 frames per second, which is really, really good. The 7 Pro is not near that. But then you see, you start actually playing the game, it drops. I think it's kind of raining on this map, but you can see there it drops into the 30s and 40s. So this is definitely not optimized for high-end Roblox gaming. Do other games like Monster Hunter now is definitely a bit better, but for Roblox, and say I'm down to 20 frames per second, it's kind of crazy. Now, if you put this into auto graphics, it'll do a lot better, but in max graphics, it's definitely not the best for Roblox. No Google phone is. Next, let's briefly talk about the AI stuff. I know when I've looked up this stuff, a lot of people don't seem to care about AI stuff. Personally, I do not care about AI stuff either. There are a few cool things. I know one thing that caught my eye was when you make a phone call, afterwards it can write you up a summary of said phone call. That seems really, really cool if you're somebody who takes a lot of phone calls. Personally, I take like a phone call maybe a couple times a month, if that. That's always from like my parents. Then it also does other things. So you of course have show me a picture of the moon. So you have Gemini here. Open up Duolingo. You can do a whole bunch of other things as well, which you can do that on the older phones too. But that is something that they can do. Then there are, of course, other things you can do if you have a Google Pixel Watch or if you have the Google Pixel Buds. There are a bunch of things you can do with that stuff. There's other things you can do with the Gemini as well. It's just a lot of this doesn't really seem all that useful to me, personally. Just things I don't really care about. One thing that is cool though, I went ahead and take a picture of my Garmin Instinct here, which is not turned on. Go ahead and hold this down and circle that, and it will find whatever you are circling. And you can pretty much do this at any point just by holding down your home button there. Now, other Android phones can do that as well. I know my Samsungs can do that as well. And if you have even like an iPhone, there are ways to doing the same thing through the Google app. So it is something that is really, really cool though. You can also do it through Google Lens. So there are some cool things in the Google AI. It's just, I think a lot of it, most people are not going to use. Personally, I'm not going to use, but there are a bunch of cool things that you could potentially use. Then quickly, let's talk about the display. You're not going to be able to see it through this video because it's through the video and through YouTube. This display is very, very good. Like side by side next to, again, the 7 Pro here, this is definitely a better display. Again, this is a very nice display. This is even better. I've definitely improved on the display. All the colors are nice and popping. Black's nice and black, white's nice and white. It is a very beautiful display. And again, it does have the 120 hertz refresh rate if you want to use it. No complaints on the display whatsoever. Then let's talk about the speakers. So of course you have one on the bottom and one up top. They are very loud and they do sound good. So again, no complaints about speakers. This is a big phone, so of course they can have bigger speakers in it. And like I said, they get nice and loud and they do sound good. I'm not going to talk really about the camera. Of course, this is a Google Pixel phone. This thing has a very good camera. Again, is definitely improved over the older ones. There are some cool AI stuff you can do with it. Like if you have 3 people who want to be in a picture, you're gonna have 2 people stand over here, the other person take the picture, switch place with one of these people, then they can take a picture and add you into it and kind of combine the 2 pictures together, and then it has all 3 of you in it. Like that is a really cool thing. Something personally, again, I'll probably never use, but it is something that is really cool if you ever needed to. But of course, again, the camera is going to be really, really good. This is a Google Pixel camera. I know there's a bunch of videos on YouTube with comparisons of the camera. I would say, again, really no complaints on the camera. It is, of course, a very good camera. I can do 0.5 to 30 times zoom, which is pretty good. I mean, you can really zoom in on things pretty well, and it still takes a good picture. So overall, I would say this is a very nice phone. I do wish it was a little bit cheaper. As of course, at $1,100, you're definitely getting into that Samsung and iPhone territory. You know, they're more expensive phone territories. Yes, those do both cost a little bit more, but I do think, again, this is definitely a very good phone. But like Samsung is always having sales on their S24 Ultra. I just bought one for $1,000, down from I think $1,300. So it's actually cheaper than this, and gives you more. Actually gives you more storage, and it's also maybe a little bit faster. So I wish they would have kept at about $900 to $1,000 here in the US. I think it would have been a bit better. But that's my own personal thought though. At $1,100, if you do like Google phones, this one is not going to disappoint you. I've really have had no weirdness with it like I have with past Google phones when they first come out, which is awesome. Again, is it worth $1,100? Really only you can decide. I do wish it was a bit cheaper though. But overall, I do think this is a good phone. This is a very good phone. This is, like people are saying, probably the best Google phone in many, many years. It is a very good phone. Y'all let me know what you think, though. I would recommend it. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.